Okay, well, I hope everyone is feeling okay this evening. I am Michelle Johnson. I'm the Director of Product Programs, and Whitney Smith is with me this evening as well. She's one of our Product Programs managers. Whitney's focus is, I've never talked about this at a previous webinar, but her focus is more on the training and the rewards and program side of things. So if you have questions related to that, you can certainly reach out to Whitney. Just a glimpse of the webinars that we've already hosted this season. We are on the very last one tonight. And just a reminder, if you have friends or other Girl Scout volunteers who you know can't be with us this evening, we are recording this and should have the recording posted on the Cookie Manager Rallyhood Rally, the Eastern Missouri one. There is a section and links just for the past recordings as well. We typically are able to get that up by midday on Wednesday, depending on the schedule of our staff who does the web postings. So please look for that and share. And if you need to refresh your memory, it will be there as well. All right, so we're wrapping up the program. We're on the home stretch. What a season it's been, for sure. I think most of us are probably ready to say goodbye to cookies this year. But just a reminder of some of the upcoming dates this is Cookie Cleanup Week, and then Sunday is the final date for cookie orders. So digital cookie shipped for the inventories that remain, that will shut off at 11:59 p.m. And that also includes donated orders that are coming in online as well. Troops that are submitting final rewards for their girls, those are due to be submitted by the end of the day on Tuesday, the 21st. Is that the 21st? The 21st, it might be Wednesday as well. And then we've got troop payment reports as applicable for troops that have families who have not paid them yet. Please turn those in by the online form by March 27th. And then the troop leaders and cookie managers from eBudde should receive an email notice of the final ACH amount on March 28th, with the withdrawal being April 4th. And then if you are owed, if your troop had more digital deposits than actual paper order cards, then you likely will receive a deposit from council or finance, and that would be a couple days after the initial ACH or the final ACH. So tonight, these are the things that we're going to go over with you. I'm talking about recording booth sales. We did that at a previous webinar, but just a refresher for those who still may need to do that. Handling late online orders, so those what we call the post-initial girl delivery orders. And then we've got talk about that virtual booth and digital cookie and how to handle orders that came in from there, adding packages to girls, payments, and how to submit your final rewards. Okay, so the biggie that seems to come up every season since digital cookie started this and had things feed over to eBudde are those orders that customers have placed with a Girl Scout for girl delivery, but that came in after your troop has submitted your initial reward. It can be kind of confusing how to find those and see those, because they don't show up in eBudde with any packages associated with those. You just see a negative balance for a Girl Scout. So definitely be checking the girl orders tab in eBudde. Click on each girl, see if you do have any of those negative balances on certain lines, because that is a key for you. If you haven't fulfilled any of these later additional these girl delivery orders, look for those. And there's a way I'll show you in a minute to see what varieties are associated with those. But it's really important that we try to do our best to fulfill these orders as much as we can, so that there don't have to be refunds to the customers who've already paid. But it's a little challenging to try to figure this out, but there is a new feature in eBudde to determine the varieties. But it does just show up as a negative payment, so it's a credit on the Girl Scouts account until the troop adds packages to the girl to fulfill those orders. Okay, so I mentioned this year it is easier for troops to view the details of those orders in eBudde and not have to go to digital cookie. You would do that by going to the Girl Orders tab, looking at a Girl Scout. So here in this example, it's Emily M. You could click that drop down and choose any Girl Scout in your troop. But on the right side, when you're looking at a Girl Scouts cookie records and orders, you can click the drop down, and at the bottom, excuse me, let me go back. At the bottom, it will say girl delivery after IO. That means those are digital cookie orders placed for girl delivery after your troop submitted your initial order. When you click on that, you'll see something like the screen at the bottom where I've put in a red box. It breaks out the varieties that were ordered. Now, keep in mind that even though you see the variety breakdown, that's really for informational purposes. Those packages are not showing as credit toward the girl quite yet. You'll have to add them to the Girl Scout as an order. I'll show that to you in a minute, how to do that. But it's really important because she needs the cookies and you have to give the cookies to her for that. So it's kind of treated as if your Girl Scout had a customer who from next door and placed an order at the end of February to the Girl Scout. That Girl Scout needs to let you know, hey, I need 5 additional Thin Mints or whatever it is for this customer. You give the cookies to the girl, you add those packages to the girl in eBudde, so that in that case, there's a balance due. Prepaid orders and digital cookie that are after your initial order are treated the same way. You still have to give the packages to the girls, add the cookies as a transaction of the troop to the girl. Okay. So you can use eBudde to track all your girl cookie orders and payments. Each row in the girl orders tab represents movement of cookies and or money. The key element on the screen is the subtotal. That the subtotal is correct. So when you click on girl order tab in your troop for eBudde, when you've got all the girls in view, at the very bottom shows the difference line. And right now, like the troop that's showing in this example has over 4,000 packages that they've received that have not been distributed among the Girl Scouts yet. So that's sitting in their inventory waiting to get credit, to give girls credit for packages that they may have received but not been recorded yet. When you add packages from that bottom line to a Girl Scout, then that Girl Scout receives credit for those cookie packages. When they're sitting at the bottom here, they're just sitting in the troop. No girl gets credit for those packages, whether she sold them or not. If you have a positive number at the bottom here, typically that means that you've over allocated what your troop has received in total transactions for cookies this year. So just something to keep in mind. If you are positive at the end that you have given all the cookies that you physically received to the Girl Scouts, all your Girl Scouts look to be okay in there, then don't stress about a small positive number or a small negative number. But if you do have a big difference down there at the bottom and big negative number, that means either you haven't sold the cookies yet or you need to distribute them to the girls. Okay, so what do? You've got these Girl Scouts that need cookies to fulfill orders, whether they be from a paper order or whether they be from online. So how do you allocate those once you've given the cookies to them? You would go Girl Order tab, click on the individual Girl Scout's name, and this year it's a little bit different. So it used to be add trans. This year it's plus order. So change the button on there to reflect what it looks like in the app. So click plus order, and that would give you the screen that you see on the smaller box here. And it's the variety, all of our cookie varieties, as well as donations that can be credited to a Girl Scout. So when I do these and help out for a troop, I always put something in the comment line. My initials, the date, I might say what it's pertaining to as much as that line allows, which is not very many characters, but I will put a reference in there so that I know when I look at that Girl Scouts record again, I can tell essentially what that was for. So when you are adding packages to a Girl Scout to fulfill prepaid orders from Digital Cookie, what you want to make sure that you do is once you put the varieties in, don't add a corresponding payment. Because it will have a balance due, and that's fine because it will counteract the negative balance that's currently showed in the credit for that payment. And so it should equal to 0 if you've given the same number of $5 varieties and $6 varieties as has been ordered. So if you have some prepaid orders for varieties that you no longer have, you can certainly give the option, have the Girl Scout give the option to customer for something, an alternative variety, alternative $5 or $6 variety. And as long as you are crediting those actual packages, the balance should be just fine. So once you add that in there with your notes, make sure you click save, and those will show up in the Girl Scouts line, and she'll receive credit for those packages transferred from the troop. Okay, another way we want to be sure that we are recording packages to Girl Scouts so they get credit toward rewards are your booth sales. So many of you have already been doing this, and that's great. But if you have not, there are a couple different ways to record booth sales. And the first one is the booth recorder. This would be go to your booth sales tab in eBudde. And if you've got a booth in there that you've already submitted in eBudde or reserved, you should see, if it's in the past, an option to record sale. So you would click that and then go to the screen. It'll give you a screen similar to when you're adding an order to a Girl Scout. But this allows you to type in the total number of packages that you believe were sold at your booth, including any donations if you want. And then you click go to distribute. That will bring up a screen that will have all the girls that are in your troop listed. You can select all, you can check specific girls who helped out, so you can distribute however you want from there to give that credit to the girls. Now, the other way to do it is, I'm going to go back to the screen before, is to do it as an order to individual Girl Scouts. So you would go to your Girl Orders tab, click the Girl Scout name that needs to get the packages credit, click plus order. And if you notice on the screen that comes up in front of you, there's to the right of comments, there's a DOC, which is digital cookie, and there's booth. So when you're adding booth cookies to a girl in this way, you want to make sure that you click that booth button there, booth checkbox, and then you allocate the packages accordingly. So either way that you do it, it's checking booth or doing the booth recorder, that gives that Girl Scout credit to receive that booth charm. If you're just adding packages to a Girl Scout without checking booth, and you didn't use the booth recorder, eBudde doesn't know to count that toward the booth charm. And the charm is earned for opt-out and Girl Scouts troops that have not opted out. Okay. All right, so speaking of booths, if you had your troop had a troop virtual booth in Digital Cookie, you set that up, and I think over 700 troops did do that this year. There's a two-step process to distribute any sales from that, so you can give girls credit for those that had come in. So sometimes your troop may have intentionally shared this, and they were intentional orders. Sometimes they were through the cookie finder. A person who didn't have a troop to connect with just found your troop and placed a shipped order or something. So you want to make sure that you transfer that to Girl Scouts so they get that exciting credit towards their rewards. They did change the process for doing that this year, and I feel like it's a little bit easier to do this. So to move packages from that quote unquote girl in your troop, it's listed as troop site and whatever your troop number is. You would go to the Girl Orders tab, click troop site, and then you can see the different orders that may have come in for this troop. So the example that you see here is there is a shipped order, those 5 packages there. Those are the ones that you're going to be paying attention to because there's packages associated with those. So then you would, if you have an idea of which Girl Scouts you want to give that credit to, you would go ahead and click distribution on there, and you'll get a screen that looks similar to a booth recorder, actually. Go there. Okay, so you click distribute, and in the same place, you can also move in-hand payments to a girl by clicking this plus DOC payment. When you click plus DOC payment, They'll give you a drop down of the girl, and you can select the girl you want to move the money to. But once you click plus distribution, you'll get to see this screen. Looks like I said, looks like the booth recorder. And you would check, uncheck, select all the packages. So in this example, there's only 5 packages available to distribute because of that one shipped order. So you would decide how you want to give that credit to the Girl Scouts in your troop. Once you do that, you click save, and it moves them out of the troop site and into those individual Girl Scouts, and those packages will no longer be available to distribute. Okay, so moving on from the troop virtual booth, another thing that you may want to do if you are not doing it in a system outside of eBudde is keeping track of the payments from your Girl Scouts in the system. So this is pretty easy. You would go about it the very similar way as adding cookies to a girl. So it's all done in the Girl Orders tab. And instead of order, you click plus pay when you are in the actual Girl Scout. And you would enter, you get just, once you click plus pay, you get a little screen with just a place to put some money in. Again, I always put comments in there with a date, your initials, if you've got multiple people that are in eBudde with your troop, that's a good way for reference. And then you put the amount paid and save. And then it will show, it'll reduce that Girl Scouts balance to your troop in the system. One thing to keep in mind is that entering payments in eBudde from families and stuff is really for your record keeping purposes. It doesn't impact the amount your troop will have withdrawn in final ACH. But if you do have Girl Scouts that haven't paid, by the time your troop needs the money for, I would say by March 26th at the very latest, then you want to take advantage of the troop late payment report that we offer to troops as a way to protect the troop and their assets, and you as the cookie manager when you have people that have not paid you yet. So that link is in the online guide, the online troop cookie manager guide. If you go to the girlscoutsem.org website and type in troop late payment report, you should see that form as well. And we link to it on the cookie page for volunteers. So it's in several different places if you need to find that. Okay, so once you have, you're confident that you have moved all the troops cookies to an individual Girl Scout, and you have your recording payments, and you can keep recording payments in eBudde even after you've submitted your rewards, but really moving those packages, making sure all orders have been filled, that kind of stuff is what you want to do, and all credit is there before you go to submitting your final rewards and filling everything out. So that'll be almost the last step before actually distributing rewards when they actually come in. So rewards do calculate automatically in eBudde. So you don't have to transfer anything from digital cookie, just as long as you move those packages that girls need credit for, that'll be there. Just one thing to note is that digital cookie is not used to view or track rewards. We don't have that function enabled. It's not a reliable function. It has some kinks that need to be worked out, so we have not enabled that in our local council. So if you have families asking about why don't I see my rewards in digital cookie, that kind of stuff, it's because it's not the information is not transferring over to digital cookie. So one thing to note is the Treeful rewards. Those are the revised version of the camp coupons from last year, and the Girl Scouts will be able to use those rewards for a variety of camps that have openings and and travel experiences this year. And just in case you have families asking, Treeful rewards notification would likely not go out until the week. It'll go out via email first, the week of March 27th. So after we've done all the cleanup and finalization of rewards for troops and submit those to the baker. And then we'll follow up with a mailing to the families this year, just in case they're not email people. We will send, I believe it's going to be a postcard that'll say your Girl Scout so-and-so has earned 1 or 2 or 3 Treeful rewards, and here's how to get the information about that. So just let your families know, give a heads up that there's no certificate, there's no gift card, something like it's all back office. So it's like it's a reward that they know they have to redeem. The process is a little bit different this year to actually apply truthful rewards. This will all be outlined in the information to the families, but they will have to register their child for the program first and then submit an online acceptance form to us. So we know which program to apply their rewards to. And just a reminder also that there's an option for families to just go ahead and say now, like, we know there's no opening for the program she wants. We're just going to go ahead and carry over the entire reward to 2024. So they still have to submit the form, but that is a built-in option this year. Okay, so when you are submitting your final rewards, it's like submitting your initial rewards, except there's a lot more of them that you'll be seeing this time around. So all packages must be allocated to your Girl Scouts first, so correct rewards show, of course. If sizing or selections are not made by the time like March 21st or even March 24th, when the neighborhoods have to verify all your submissions, we will make these selections for the troop. And we don't like selecting sizes for troops or Girl Scouts because we don't know everyone, and we want to make sure the Girl Scout gets what she needs. So please be sure that those are all filled out when you're doing your submissions. So to do this, you want to go to the Rewards tab in eBudde, and under Final Rewards, you click Fill Out to see the options needed for each Girl Scout. If you see, like you see in this example on the right side, the red size or catalog selection needed, that means there needs to be a choice made or a t-shirt size selected. So we do have 2 shirts in the rewards this year. Some girls have earned both. Make sure that there are sizes selected for each of those. And then there's a couple, I'll mention this a little bit as well, but when you are looking at all of those, you can go ahead, if you're in the screen like you see on the right where there's that red information, you can click edit all below to enter all sizing information, so you don't have to go back and forth between girl. You can just have them all in a row, and you can just make their selections right there and click submit all. All right, if you find a mistake after you submit your final rewards, and it's before March 24th, please contact your neighborhood cookie manager, because they do have access to go in and unsubmit and make the adjustments and resubmit before we get all that information. If your troop happened to reach the 150 PGA level to get the bandana scarf this year, there is a piece that often is forgotten because it's a little bit hidden, but you'll want to make sure when you are in the fill out screen, scroll down below all the girls' names, and it's this box on the bottom left here, and you'll see where it says PGA 150 bandana scarf. There'll be a field to enter number one or two, because the troop can get up to 2 for volunteers in their troop. So make sure that you fill that out so that your troop gets those for your volunteers, the well-deserved little gift there. For Girl Scouts who may have sold enough shipped packages and digital cookie to earn them the initial order reward. So if you remember, before shipping opened, we did make the decision to add shipped packages to initial order numbers to help some girls reach the initial reward that they would normally have gotten if the option had been available as normal this season. So so we are going to do that. We have to do these calculations on the back end. So there's nothing that you as a troop volunteer, no action that you would need to take related to that piece of it. You're just going to go ahead and submit your final rewards as you see them. And then we'll get that information taken care of and make sure that rewards are ordered appropriately, the new quantities. And then we're hoping that we'll be able to have little brownies programmers enter that information into eBudde so that you'll be able to see it in your reports that you'll use for distributing later on. So we'll share more information about that once we know for sure what that looks like. But just be assured that we are working on that. We will do that on the back end. Okay, so I mentioned size selection for those 2 shirts, the long sleeve hooded tee and the Go Bright Ahead t-shirt. The size chart is in the online guide, page 32. So if you are needing to reference that, you can certainly go on there and do that. And one thing a question that came up yesterday was that some volunteers entered their Girl Scouts t-shirt sizes on the girls tab. So where there's the girls' names and their grade and stuff, some entered t-shirt sizes there. That doesn't necessarily all move over to the rewards. So just be sure that you are verifying that those pieces have been filled out with the sizes that the girls need. So no girl gets left out there. Okay. Once you've submitted your final rewards, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and export the report for your reference later. So again, this will currently, when you submit, you're only going to have the ones that don't include the updated initial ones yet, but if you, just in case by the time you go to distribute your rewards in the summer or May or whatever it is, and we no longer have access to eBudde, you'll at least have this report saved somewhere that you can access to reference when you're given all your Girl Scouts the rewards that they earned. But when you pick up your rewards, they all go to the neighborhood cookie manager. And so your neighborhood cookie manager will let you know, they'll communicate how they would go ahead, how they normally would communicate with you, that your rewards are in and how to pick them up. They will give you a ticket with all the rewards earned for your troop in total. It won't necessarily have girl by girl. So just have that bigger number. So saving this report, the girl RPT for both initial rewards and final rewards is a good step to have. So you can do it from your rewards tab. You can also use your reports tab in eBudde, and there's a girl or troop rewards HTML report that will pull up a formatted document. Will have the same information. So I keep jumping ahead here. Apologize for that. Sure I didn't miss anything. All right. All right. So last thing is your sales report. Another thing that you might want to export just so that you can see that once you lose eBudde access. And the reason you would lose eBudde access is because they do shut down access for council and volunteers for a time after sales are all over in order to do all the updates and stuff for the next season. But eBudde does store 5 years of sales. So when you get back in the next season, you'll be able to see your previous year's information. But your sales report tab has all the details of the cookies that you received, what your troop is responsible for. And it separates it out by the left side is cookie, which are the $5 varieties, and specialty, which are the $6 varieties. And one question that does come up when troops are looking at, especially for the first time, is how do I see if my troop is sold above the base? How do I see that on here? If you look on this example, there is, this one doesn't actually have it. The base is 80 cents per package. If your troop sold to the next year, so the 90 cents per package, you would see this in tier proceeds. There'd be a line that says tier proceeds, and it would either have 10 cents or 20 cents on there. So it'd be your base 80 plus an additional 10 cents or plus an additional 20 cents per package up to $1. And if you're an opt-out troop, you would have the additional 5 cents per package that would be showing as well on here. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Another thing at the top is that you see PGA selling. That is the number used to measure rewards for your troop PGA rewards. We don't use PGA registered. It's only based on the Girl Scouts who actually have sales in the system. Okay, so if you want to see a tutorial on how to do some of these tasks, you can go to the eBudde Help Center, and I can, if anybody wants me to show you in a little bit, I can certainly walk you through this. But if you're in your Help Center, you would go to Managing Your Sale and Troops, if that's your role, and Microburst training videos. And so there you scroll down and there's a number of topics on the various things that you might need to be doing. So submitting rewards, adding orders to Girl Scouts, things like that, booth recorder. These are very helpful videos, and I certainly encourage you to make use of the resource that's available in this from Little Brownie here. Okay, and just as always, we remind our volunteers to connect with us through Rallyhood because we do put a calendar on there. There's a message wall. This is where we share recordings from our Cookie Bites webinars like this, as well as the cookie chat, links to the cookie chats that we've done this season. So lots of good information on there. I think that is about it for this evening. So Whitney, do we have questions in the chat that we still need to answer?
Yes. There is one question from Sarah. She said, what do we do if the final rewards do not add up properly with the what they are supposed to be? She said, for an example, 9 girls are supposed to receive a reward, but it is auto-filling 8.
If there is an issue like that, we can usually troubleshoot that, but I would send a message to the answer center so that somebody in the answer center or somebody on my team can take a look at what's going on there.
Hi, can I ask a question about looking at the girl orders in eBudde?
Okay, go ahead.
So when I do that, when I look at my girl order summary, a couple of the girls have a negative balance due. And I'm assuming it's because they must have allowed someone to make a girl deliver order.
Mm-hmm.
But when I click on the name, I do see that, but I don't see what the cookie order is. Do I need to reach out to that mom to get the exact order?
Okay, so let me go back to the beginning here where we did go over
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry.
You could do that. You could certainly put the responsibility on the family to tell you, because that's what they should be doing all along. But if they don't do that, there is a way for you to look at that.
Okay.
So when you are this is a screenshot of the girl orders in eBudde. You can click when you're in that Girl Scout that you see the negative balance in. There's a drop down up to the right. It defaults to all orders. If you click on that, there's a girl delivery after IO option. And it will, once you click on that, it'll take you to a screen that looks like the bottom image that's in red. And it does show the breakout of what is needed for that order.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now you'll still have to allocate those cookies that you give the Girl Scout as an order from the troop to the girl, though. So even though you see that those numbers at the bottom in red, those actually aren't. That's just for informational, really. That credit is not given to the girl quite yet. So you add the packages, transfer them.
Okay.
That's a very good question and a very common one.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I have a question also. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. We still have some shipped orders that have not either shipped or just haven't been credited over to eBudde yet. And so, of course, I'm running into some challenges with rewards where I've got girls that are close and it's become kind of a tedious process to try to manually account for that stuff. So I'm wondering, do we have an ETA for when that will be caught up? Because we're kind of running out of time here, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an ETA. I am keeping an eye on, we'll keep an eye on those orders, but I'm also keeping an eye on the information from GSUSA to see if, orders that have been placed. So ours don't shut off till the 19th. So there may be, very well may be orders that are placed on the 19th that haven't been shipped out yet. So we'll be monitoring that. And I would say go ahead and fill out the information that you can as best you can for your Girl Scouts, and do as much as you can to finalize their rewards with what you know. And then if we know that there's a ton of outstanding shipped orders, we'll communicate about next steps. It may, I don't want to say it, but it could result in us delaying our submission of rewards to the bakery until we know they're all in, just so that we don't miss any Girl Scouts stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people are still placing orders, but we had some from, now it's been like a week. And I was just hoping to have a clean report to work from to check all the reward stuff. And I also didn't want to submit too early and then, we miss out on it. So,
right. We can always unsubmit everybody's on our end if we feel like there's a lot that was posted, and then resubmit. So not, in case it bumps a girl up to the next reward level.
Right.
But I
Exactly.
totally understand just wanting to finish things out. And
Yeah.
they last I heard is that shipped orders were still being shipped out within the 2 to 15 business day time frame. It's kind of vague, but the payments don't post until the
Right.
order gets shipped out. So then it doesn't go to eBuddy until that time frame. So it does put a delay on it sometimes.
All right. Well, I'll just be working on it on spring break, I guess, just to make sure.
But
All
yeah,
right.
let us know if there's something you would like us to do to help you in that respect.
It's all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Michelle. Jennifer said, how do we handle payment in eBuddy for extra boxes of cookies that we allocated to girls that have not actually been sold?
You can always go ahead and just add when you're putting the cookies on there. That's a really great question. When you're adding the cookies, transferring them, so say it's 10 packages from the troop, because the troop got them, you can just add a $10 payment. So that Girl Scout's not responsible for it. The cookie she didn't actually sell, but you're just giving credit to all the girls. And that's just to help for that. That doesn't mean the troop's not responsible for it, but it just means Girl Scout Sally doesn't owe $10 for that.
I have a question. So we had 2 official council sponsor booths, and we have 1 booth that's not council sponsored. It's just at the school during parent teacher conference.
Mhm.
And so how do I allocate those cookies to the girls? Do I just do it individually?
You can, if you don't have it in there, you can just add it from troop to girl as the plus, using the plus order button, and just click the booth checkbox when you're in that.
Okay.
Another option would be, if you want to wait 2 days, is you can actually add the booth to your booth sales tab and put it in with a date that's 48 hours from when you're in eBuddy. Add the information in, but put a generic zip code like 111111, so that it's not searchable or anything. And then that'll show up in your sales tab, and you can record sales that way if that's easier for you. But it won't let you do it if the date's not 48 hours from then.
Okay, and where do I go to do that at? Into the booth tab?
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think April has her hand raised.
Okay.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Hold on 1 minute. There was another question.
I think it was mine, and I'm really, because I haven't tried to put in the order yet for the council cupboard, but I was just thinking as soon as we get off this call, I didn't want to try to order cookies and then not be able to find them. I know there's a shortage in a lot of the cupboards. So just want, if that were to happen when I try to go in to get these orders, is there anything to do?
Well, just look at the notes that are listed for the cupboards. I don't believe, I think we've kind of lifted most limits on cookies as the inventory allows. But we do have, with the cupboards in the St. Louis area, at least, that are open, there are some varieties that we don't have. I know, like the council cupboard, we don't have any do-si-dos or Samoas. For the council cupboard, I updated notes to say I've started a cookie wait list for those that can't find them on the cookie exchange or can't find them from other troops in another way, because we could get some from other cupboards that are closing from our rural areas. Some of those cookies are coming into our council, and all the cookies from other cupboards will come into our council this week and next week. So we could have a few of those more desired varieties that people need. So I'm just keeping track of that so we can try to help our troops when those do come into our possession. But aside from that, if you don't want to wait for that, if somebody's ordered do-si-dos, offer them maybe a different variety that is in stock and easier to get. That is a $5 variety or $6 variety, and see if they're willing to still keep the purchase, but just take something different.
Okay.
Lauren said, does allocating cookies for post initial order girl delivery orders change the balance due for each girl by making the negative number change to 0? Does it change the amount due from paper orders?
If there's a whole bunch of them, it might, if you have digital cookie orders that are showing as a negative credit and you've not transferred any packages to the Girl Scout for fulfilling those orders, yes, it will skew the balance due, because it's showing that the Girl Scout has paid, say, for example, $15 for cookies that haven't been received by her yet. So it reduces what that Girl Scout's balance is. That's why it's really important to make sure that you are capturing all of those post initial digital cookie orders and adding the packages to the Girl Scout so that it evens out that negative balance. And once you've done that, it's all good.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I have a question. Can you go over the cookie exchange? Because I have a lot of do-si-dos that I would like to get rid of.
So the cookie exchange, and let me X out of my stop sharing this screen and pull up a new screen. Get into eBudde here. Okay, let's see if I can see. Are we seeing eBudde? Do you see eBudde, Whitney? Just making sure.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So on eBudde, let me get over here. The cookie exchange is an option that all troops have to do that. So you can, it is for putting packages out there that you want to get rid of for your troop or offer to other troops and a troop to troop transfer. So you click on cookie exchange and then type in all the varieties that you need. You can include your phone number and then update. So then it will list, it knows where you are, it knows your zip code, it knows the information in there. And so it'll list that. And then the troop can contact you to go ahead and see if they can get those off your hands. So it's required for the troop to contact somebody.
Yeah. I'm on the what-you-call-it right now.
And so then once you've given some of your cookies, just make sure to update your exchange. So if you've given 10 of your do-si-dos away, Essie, make sure you go back in here and reduce the number that was offered so that it's not making some troops think that you have more cookies available than you actually do. And if you've given all your cookies out, just make sure you say remove my offering so it's not available any longer.
I'm sorry, I got interrupted when you were talking about the cookie exchange. And you said if you have cookies that you need to get rid of, you put them, you go by what the cookies are.
Yeah, you go with what, it doesn't automatically transfer your extra cookies from Girl Orders tab. You have to type in the varieties that you want to make available for other troops for transfer.
Oh.
And so you add those in, include your phone number if you want them to contact you that way, and click update. And that'll have your cookies on the list.
So then you have to go in and actually transfer them from your troop to another troop.
Yep.
And where do you do that?
Yep. Once you've made the agreement to exchange the cookies, you're giving cookies to another troop. The troop would go ahead and do the transactions here. You click add a transaction. Make sure a troop is selected here on the left side because it wants to default to covered. It kind of automatically wants to do that. Click in the troop number you're giving your cookies to, put in your date, and click remove product because you're removing products from you and giving them to another troop. And then you save that. So that should move the cookies out of your inventory into the other troop.
Okay.
And we can certainly help with any of that, but I always recommend that the troop who is giving the cookies to another troop to be the one to do the transaction.
Okay. Now, the one that's receiving it, do they have to do anything?
Nope. Nope, they don't have to accept it or anything like that. It's not like a pending order at a cupboard. It
Okay.
automatically just goes into their inventory.
I want to make sure I understood how you said do that. You go into transaction.
Uh-huh.
And then you click troop,
You click play, you add a transaction first.
add a transaction, okay?
Yep. Click troop,
And then you
and you enter the number.
troop number. That's the troop number that you're giving it to.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then,
your varieties and packages that you're doing.
okay. And then you remove
Yep.
product.
Make sure, yeah, so that it makes sure that remove the product from your inventory. And then
Okay.
save.
So it'll automatically take it out of like my troop. I don't have to put my troop number or anything.
Nope. Nope. Not at all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I just had a quick question. How long do parents have access to a digital cookie, like the cookies in hand, to pay for cookies with a credit card? I have a mom who wants to sell. Technically, I think she wants to sell on the 19th or 20th. And I know you have the cookie cleanup, but she still has boxes and she just want to know if she could still take credit cards.
Okay, let me just double check my settings because I want to tell you the correctly. So cookies in hand is enabled through Sunday. So it will shut off on the 19th.
Okay, that's what I kind of figured. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Michelle, I have a question for you. What do we do if the cookie rewards are not correct? And I already submitted. I just noticed it after I submitted. How do I get it? First, the question, how do I get it back to resubmit it? And how do I change it? Or how do...
I would first recommend reaching out to your neighborhood cookie manager and letting them know that, ask them to unsubmit your rewards and they can make the changes for you. If there's changes that need to be made, and then they can resubmit for you. Or you can resubmit until through the 21st.
Okay, and then for discrepancies, who do I talk to for that?
Discrepancies, if you do see an issue with what's on there, please send a message to the answer center.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Judith.
I have a question about looking on the exchange. I found that like the desktop version compared to the app is a little bit different. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but I can't see information about where the cookies are on the desktop. Like there's no zip code.
Let's see. Yeah, that's one of the downsides of the cookie exchange that has not been improved yet, is that all you see is district information and phone number for the person. So if you're not as familiar with the districts, then it's kind of a guessing game on where they are.
Right. And then it's also hard to find, like if you're looking for multiple types and you want to get them from the same person, there's not like a good way to group them together. I mean, I wish you could like download a report and sort it or something like that, but I'm not missing anything, am I? Like I've tried to use.
You are, unless somebody else on here knows more about the exchange than even I do, because they use it more. They would use it.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, like the app, I found that you can at least find the zip code on there, but I think as you click through the cookies, it collapses the other one. So then you're like, wait a minute, who had the Thin Mints? Because now I'm looking at this kind of cookie. So, okay, well, hopefully they'll add that in eventually.
We would love it to be more user-friendly, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and just press stop recording.